Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Cluiche with me, Seamus, Brady, your host. And in this video, I'm going to give my personal preview and predictions for all of the games that are going to be taking place this weekend. We have one hell of a weekend coming in Gaelic football. We have the All-Ireland football semi-finals. We have the Táilteann Cup Final. We have the LGFA Quarter Finals. It is going to be a feast of football this weekend. I'm going to give my full preview and prediction for all of the games really quickly in a nice, easy to consume package for you lot as well. So here we go. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment before we get into all the games. But yeah, let's crack on with these. We're going to start with the semi-finals, then go into the Táilteann Cup Final, and then we are also going to talk about the LGFA quarterfinals. Start off, we have a comment here from Meadman. Says worried for Monaghan. The only I could potentially see where you're coming from there, because I don't think Monaghan will go too defensive in their game against Dublin. Having seen what Dublin did to Mayo, there is serious form there for the Dubs, and that's the first game that I'm going to look at here. Dublin versus Monaghan at Croke Park in the All-Ireland semi-final. That game will be happening on the Saturday. Meath and Down will be taking place before it in the Táilteann Cup Final. Then this one is on after. So what am I thinking coming into this game? Well, obviously, two very different quarterfinals is first off. Two very different seasons. You had Monaghan, of course, beating Tyrone and Ulster. Then they got knocked out by Derry quite convincingly in the Ulster semi-final. Then they come into the All-Ireland group stages. They beat Kildare, of course, in the preliminary quarter-final with that last-minute Conor McCarthy point. Then they play Armagh in the quarter-final, and they win on penalties. So they have, gotten through to this stage with some last gasp results. Like, that is the truth. The penalty shootout, Conor McCarthy's last-minute point, they have. And, in the group stage, they were beaten by Donegal. They have let their form dip at stages, but the one thing this Monaghan team is you cannot take away from them is they're scrappers, as in that they always never say die. They will fight until they've got nothing left in the tank. And I truly believe that they're coming up to Dublin to give it everything that they've got. I don't think it's going to be a complete whitewash. I do think Dublin will win. That is the honest truth. I just think Dublin are going to win. I don't think it's going to be ugly. I don't think Dublin are going to win by 12, 15 points. I think it is going to be tighter than a lot of people think, but I do think Dublin will win. Their form is too good right now. That's just the simple, honest truth, in my opinion. That Dublin looked awesome in the second half against Mayo. Colin Basquel with 2-2. Paul Mannion back in looking good. Cormac Costello looking good. Conor Callaghan, Sean Bugler, Kieran Kilkenny, and Jack McCaffrey came off the bench. Just Dublin looked awesome in that second half against Mayo. So my honest truth is, look, I absolutely love this Monaghan team. I think that they're absolutely awesome, the way that they just fight until the bitter end. But I think this one is probably a step too far. And I've really been impressed with him this season. First year under Vinnie Corey. I can't wait to see what he does with the cracking players that he has coming through. The under-20 side, he has some cracking players coming through. But I am just going to go for Dublin to take this and put one of the teams into the All-Ireland final. And then this will be the other game, Kerry versus Derry in Croke Park as well. This game will be on the Sunday. So, of course, again, different roads, different quarterfinals. Like you're talking about, Derry had a very even game with Cork, and just Derry struck wisely, if you get what I mean. They hit at crucial times. The goal that they hit immediately after Cork got their goal was vital as well, because it kind of took Cork's momentum and doubled it for Derry in their favour. Kerry, on the other hand, looked awesome against Tyrone, and they really shut me up. They shut anybody up that thought Tyrone were going to take them out. They really looked awesome in that game, and they also shut up a lot of people that kind of labelled them as a one-man team with David Clifford, because David Clifford did not have his best game by any stretch of the imagination against Tyrone, and yet they still looked awesome. Shawnee O'Shea, Darren Moynihan, Diarmuid O'Connor, they have just an absolute raft of pure talent. Diarmuid O'Connor and Jack Barry, I thought, in midfield were really good. Then in the forward, Shawnee O'Shea looks to be back to his best. Paddy Clifford, I thought, was fantastic. He had a real battle with Conor Myler the entire game and looked really good. So it is hard to write this Kerry team off again this year. Genuinely, after that game, they looked so good. Derry, on the other hand, as I said, struck wisely against Cork, but they have kind of gone off the boil, in my opinion, this Derry team. Look, they did win Ulster, but it's like they haven't ripped through teams the way that Kerry did against Tyrone. They really haven't. And I know that that's the performance, the Kerry's performance. But if there was ever a performance that would change your mind so quickly about can anybody stop Kerry, it's that performance against Tyrone. They just looked awesome in it, and I really can't see Derry stopping them. It's just the truth. I think Derry have been fabulous this season. Ulster champions again for the second year in a row. But I looked at the Cork game, the Cork and Derry game, and I just thought even the pace was slower. And I was thinking in my head, I don't think Derry can stop this Kerry team. I think it will be tight for stages, but I do think Kerry will get the victory when it's all said and done. So I am going for the All-Ireland final of 2023 to be Dublin versus Kerry. And what a final that would be. So I'm going for Kerry to win this game. The Táilteann Cup final then will be the game that plays on the Saturday before the Dublin versus Monaghan game. It's between Down and Meath. It's going to be in Croke Park. Of course, they've already met this year in the Táilteann Cup in the group stages. That was in Parnell Park. And look, these are two giants of Gaelic football. Down versus Meath are two absolute giants of Gaelic football. We have a comment here from me, and Kerry proved so many wrong at the Tyrone game. I've seen more people saying Tyrone will win Kerry. Yeah, absolutely correct. And I'll hold my hands up. I thought Tyrone were actually going to take them out. So maybe that shows that you shouldn't listen to a single prediction that I make in this preview. But the truth is that I honestly thought that Tyrone always turn up, but God, Kerry turned up and they were absolutely fantastic. This Táilteann Cup final down against Meath, can we read anything into the Parnell Park game? Not that much, in my opinion. I think Croke Park as a playing surface suits Down so much more. Their hard running style, they've really lightning quick attack. Liam Kerr, Daniel McGill, Eugene Brannigan, Sheelan Johnston, Pat Havern, they move so fast. And if you watch the Laois game, that Laois game was a really hard game to watch, actually. It was just an absolute one-sided beatdown. Whereas Meath in the other semi-final found it very difficult against Antrim. But at long times, they really struggled to finish off Antrim. And look, that's an Antrim side that have got a lot better under Andy McEntee this season. And they were definitely a tougher test than Laois were. But having seen how much Meath struggled to beat Antrim compared to how easy Down beat Laois, Down are coming into this final with a more impressive form. But Meath beat Down in Parnell Park. And look, that day, Down hit something like 16 wides. Like something ridiculous like that. So you have a comment in here. Opinions on the Down Meath being on the same day as Dublin and Monaghan. Tickets sold out in 2 hours and there's still loads left for the game on Sunday. I think it should be its own day out. I agree with you. I think the Táilteann Cup should be its own final. Just like Meath and Down both bring big fan sets, and I think that they could fill, like they could definitely fill a Páirc Uí Chaoimh, like for sure. Now, I'm not talking about moving it away from Croke Park, but I actually do agree. I think a standalone day, or even if there was loads of tickets still left for the Sunday, why not play it on the Sunday? Because Dublin Monaghan was always going to attract a sellout. So it is interesting to see that they went with this. Down in Meath, Croke Park, who am I going to go for to win this game? And apologies to anyone watching who's a Meath fan. I am going to narrowly go for Down. I just think if you look at the Parnell Park game, Down hit something like 16 wides in that game. And Meath still won narrowly. Their attack, Down's attack, is unbelievable. Like the Laois game, it was absolutely off the charts good. Now, Meath are good. And then we have another comment. Wouldn't be a sellout, but at least 45k plus would also. Yeah, I completely agree. It's just like, I just honestly fully believe that Meath were really good against Antrim at stages, but also were not good at all at stages. And I think Down will punish them if they take their eye off the ball in this game. And I do think Down will win. I think Down will tidy up on the shooting that they got wrong in the Parnell Park game, drastically got wrong in the Parnell Park game. So I am going to go with Down to be Táilteann Cup champions for 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if Meath win it, but I am going to go with Down to narrowly take that. Now, moving on to the LGFA Quarter Finals, we have some absolute crackers here, starting with a rematch of the Connacht football final that was this year, which Mayo won. But since then, I have to be completely honest, I've been more impressed with Galway. And it's a really, really hard one to call because Mayo have taken their eye off the ball in some games. They have some awesome forwards, the likes of Sinead Cafferty. But I am going to go with Galway to take this. I just feel like the Leonards, Kate Slevin, Olivia Dively, players like that have really blossomed now with Galway, and their defence has been magnificent throughout the group stages. And I am going to go with them to get revenge on Mayo. It's in Pearse Stadium. Of course, the last Galway Mayo clash was in Pearse Stadium. The Mayo men got the better of the Galway men. but I am going to go with the Galway women to avenge that. I'm going to go with Galway to beat Mayo in the first quarterfinal in the LGFA Championship across the weekend. Moving on then to the next one, Armagh versus Cork at the Athletic Grounds. What a cracker this is going to be. This is just two sides that just have awesome attacks. Like, you on the Armagh side, you've got Amy Mack and you've got Aoife McCoy, you've got Kelly Mallon. On the Cork side, you've got the O'Sullivans, you've got Orla Cahalan. It's teed up to be an absolute cracker. In the Athletic Grounds, Armagh with home advantage could be crucial. Like, that could be absolutely crucial. And they have, for years now, I've been waiting for Armagh to click. And to really, since 2020 when they made the semi-final and Amy Mackin was player of the year, I've been waiting for them to really take it up a level and go for an All-Ireland. Cork, under Shane Ronayne, look like they turned a corner, beating Kerry, everything. They've had some really big results this season. Can they now put that into action and go and beat Armagh up in the Athletic Grounds? It's really, really hard to call this one. This one is so hard to call. I'm going to lean towards Cork based off of experience. I think they still have some players that have been there, done that, like Darren O'Sullivan, like Ciara O'Sullivan. I think they can lead them through this game. But Armagh have the attack and they have the ability to roast teams. Like, I think if Armagh win, they can win well. But I do think Cork, based off of experience, I'm going to go for Cork to just narrowly edge this game out, which brings me to what I think is arguably game of the weekend. Kerry versus Meath in Austin Stack Park. It's the rematch of the All-Ireland final last season. Only the tables have turned so much since last season. Of course, last season, Meath had Eamon Murray in charge. Everything was still rosy. They still had, the whole band together. Then this season, of course, Davy Nelson came in after Eamon Murray left after winning the All-Ireland. Then Davy Nelson left. They had that whole fiasco. Jenny Rispin has come in to steady the ship. Then Meath lost at home to Donegal in Port Táilteann, which meant that they finished second in the group, and now they have to go away to Kerry in Austin Stack Park. It's a hugely, hugely challenging game, this, for Meath. Like, it really, really is. Even though they have the likes of Vicky Wall, even though they have the likes of Emma Duggan, it wasn't enough to beat Donegal at home. So now they're going into the team that they played in the All-Ireland final last season, who look better, in my opinion, this year than they did last year, away from home in Austin Stack Park. This is a really dangerous one for Meath. And you know what? I'm going to say that they're going to slip on the banana skin. I'm going to say that Meath are going to be taken out by Kerry this weekend. It's just down there in Austin Stack Park, Kerry have the likes of Sheaf Roche, Louise Moore-Hurtig that are in red-hot form. Koch Lynch as well. So impressed with her against Dublin. I'm going to go with Kerry to take this one. Just about, like, it'll be a huge shock that the champions will be out at the quarterfinal stage, but I just think it's the worst matchup Meath could have possibly got in the quarterfinals now at this stage, and that's why the Donegal defeat was hugely detrimental to their entire season. It wasn't just a mess up, it was a huge mess up losing that game. And speaking of Donegal that beat them, they now welcome Dublin to Ballybofey. Of course, Kerry beating Dublin in Parnell Park meant that Dublin could only finish second in the group because Kerry were always going to beat Cavan. And even when Dublin beat Cavan, it was only enough to finish second in the group. Hence, this trip up to Donegal and to face off against a team that, let's not forget, knocked Dublin out of the championship last season. So for anybody who's looking at this saying, well, Dublin had the dynasty, they had the 4 in a row there a couple of years ago, surely Dublin win this game. A lot's changed since then. Believe me, a lot's changed since then. Dublin haven't won the All-Ireland since 2020. A lot's changed. And going away to Donegal now, a side that beat Dublin last year in the All-Ireland quarterfinals, they were the team that knocked Dublin out. It's really, really dangerous. Like, it really, really is dangerous. Donegal looked damn good this year. As I mentioned, they beat Meath. They won the Ulster Championship. They beat Armagh. They will fancy this. They will fancy this. The more I talk about it, the more I realise just how dangerous this game is for Dublin. Dublin, on the other hand, Mick Bowen, they did respond well to the Kerry defeat. But you know what? I'm going to go with Donegal. I have to be honest. I think that this is so dangerous of a game for Dublin. It's up in Ballybofey. Donegal love getting teams up there. And the fact that they turned it around and won the Ulster Championship, the fact that they beat Meath and Port Táilteann, I'm going to go with them to take out Dublin as well. What a shock that would be if Meath and Dublin both got knocked out on the same weekend. Moving then to the relegation playoffs in the LGFA Championship. The relegation playoffs, the first one I'm going to quickly run through these. Laois and Cavan in Kiltoom. I am going to narrowly go for a Laois victory. I actually think Laois have cracking forwards. Mo Nerney, Aaron Fitzpatrick. I'm just going to go with them to be the difference for Laois and to shade it for them. I think Cavan got 2 heavy beatings off Dublin and Kerry. Don't think that will do them any good. Laois this season showed good form in intermediate league up until the final against Armagh. I think they're just going to edge this out. The other relegation playoff then is an all-Munster clash. Waterford against Tipperary and Piltown. It's just really, really hard one to call this one because what we're looking at in this game is we have 2 teams that have 2 absolute cracking forwards. Waterford on the one hand have Lauren McGregor. Tip on the other hand have Aisling Maloney. And genuinely, I think Aisling Maloney is one of the best footballers in the country, period. Now, who will come out in this game? It's so hard to tell. Waterford strike me as a team that are more structured. That they have more of a structured defense. Tip rely on flair, I think, a bit more, like Aisling Maloney, relying on her to shoot the lights out in pretty much every game. So in a real scrap of a game where they're both pulling each other back and level the entire way, I'm going to go for Waterford to just about edge this game out. That's honestly first take. I'm going to go with Waterford to just about edge this out. Lauren McGregor, of course, playing a huge role in Waterford pulling that off. She scored a goal in pretty much every game this season for Waterford, so keep an eye out for her. Keep an eye out for Aisling Maloney as well. It will definitely be a battle between the 2 of them. But that's a really quick run through of all the games, guys. That's the blitz. That's the predictions. Let me know how wrong I am, or let me know if you agree with me in the comment section below. And yeah, guys, enjoy all of the games on the weekend this weekend. I cannot wait for each and every one of them. And until the next one, guys, here on Cluiche, take care.